This is the Hard Thing Podcast. Today, we're overcoming average. Welcome back to another episode of the Hard Thing Podcast. Today is going to be a little bit different. This is the Forge, by the way, our Thursday show where usually myself and co-host Ty Crockett put ourselves to the test and do hard things in an effort to give you an example of what it looks like to do hard things and inspire you to do the same to change your life. But again, today's a little bit different. I'm actually on a trip, so I'm recording this on the road. So I won't have my co-host Ty Crockett here with me today. Usually we talk about the action items given to us by our Monday guests. This last Monday, I had on the show Master Motivator Christopher Rausch. He was an awesome guest. We talked about a lot of things. We're not going to talk about his action items. We're actually just going to talk really quickly about changing your life. But before I get into that, changing your life is so important. And one of the most effective ways of doing that is to hire a coach or a trainer, someone who is kind of like a third party and they can see where you're messing up, see where you're making mistakes, but also see where you can make some improvements. And I've teamed up with a lot of coaches or trainers to give you at least a free consultation. And this can be in fitness, finance, life coaching, and I'm actually opening up other ones down the road, but right now those are the ones that I have available. So if you want to get a free consultation with any of the coaches that we've teamed up with, go to thehardthingpodcast.com/trainers and you'll be able to click on the area that is most important to you right now. Again, we only have fitness, life coaching, and the other one was business, sorry. But go ahead and get a free consultation from them. And then if you want to sign up for their services, it actually helps the podcast as well. So go do that. Also, for these Thursday shows, we depend heavily on challenges that we can give each other. So if you want to submit to us some challenges, you can go to thehardthingpodcast.com/submit-challenge. Submit a challenge. We'll read it on air if we like it, and we'll give you a shout out. Go do that. As far as challenges go, I haven't had a challenge for the last 2 weeks, so I won't report on that. But my co-host Ty Crockett should be sending me challenges today. So hopefully by the end of this, he'll have sent us some, up to 3 challenges that I can choose from. But we will let you know. Now, I want to talk about changing your life. Changing your life is very difficult. Changing your life takes a lot out of you. And so I wanted to share four tips, I guess, that I've seen in my life that will help you change your life for the better. And when I say change your life, I mean, let's start off with the example of someone who is in a dead-end job. They are in relationships that never seem to work out, or if they do work out, they're toxic, they're just not great, and their life is not meaningful. It's not meaningless, but it's empty somewhat, right? And when I say change your life, obviously changing those things to positive. So you're in a job that you love, or you're starting your own business, whichever one you prefer. You are with people that you care about and they care about you deeply, and you're constantly filling your time with things that give you real joy. Now, I'm no expert, right? The whole point of the Thursday show, The Forge, is to show the journey, myself and co-host Ty Crockett, show the journey that we are on, that we are working towards and trying to fulfill in our daily lives. So I'm just here to share some things that have worked for me, and hopefully they worked for you as well. So number one in changing your life is to get around the right people. This is essential whether you're battling an addiction or just trying to start on a new path. You need to get around people that encourage the things that you're trying to grow and cultivate. One awesome example is actually this trip. So we are with some friends, and I am, funny to say, I'm not the most adventurous person. I'm kind of a homebody, but my wife and one of our friends on this trip have definitely encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone and go on these adventures. And for that, I'm entirely grateful to them because we've been having such amazing memories. We're actually in southern Utah, going to see various canyons and things like that. And without having them to be able to kind of push me and say like, hey, let's do this, naturally, I wouldn't do it. And they're exposing me to these things and helping me expand who I am as an individual. And it's helping me, again, change my life to become more adventurous, because then I can take that skill and apply it in business or in podcasting or so forth. Number two is to consume the right media. Now, I like to use the example of like your body. Your body needs nutrients, right? You need vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and water. And if you don't get the right nutrients, or if the quality of the nutrients that you put into your body is subpar, you will get subpar performance. So it's the same thing with your mind. Your mind functions very similarly. And that's not to say you can't, listen to junk food all the time or any at all. It's just to say the more powerful the media you consume, the more powerful the output you'll get. And let me use a personal example. So I love fantasy novels, science fiction, just anything like that, right? But I found if that's all I listen to at work, so I work in a place where I can listen to music or on my headphones all day, right? If I just listen to this science fiction, fantasy novels, my whole life starts to get more depressed, and my work even suffers. So I temper it actually with using podcasts and listening to things like the Hard Thing podcast that are very progressive and uplifting, personal developmental, and they help me keep that same fire, that same energy in my life and still be able to function well at work. In fact, it makes me function even better. I don't only do podcasts though, because then I kind of become like a zombie. And so I have to find this mix of, things that I enjoy because it's entertaining and things that I enjoy because it's very uplifting and it makes me feel alive and it makes me want to do better. So that's what I mean by consuming the right material and media. You need to make sure you're having the right mix of things that are helping you become a better person and the things that are helping you just enjoy life. Number 3 is to grow in self-awareness. This is very vital. And I've actually had a number of podcast guests lately talk about this specific thing. The reason why this is important is because if you try and stretch your wings, you could say, in one way or another, and those wings are hitting people in the face around you or making it so other people can't fly, then obviously you're not going to have very many people around you. It's just the way it is. So the solution to that is to become very aware of what it is like to be with you, to work for you, to be to be in a relationship with you. And the only way to really do that is to either put yourself in other people's shoes or ask people questions and don't defend yourself. When you do that, make sure you understand, take it with a grain of salt. What they're saying isn't the gospel truth. It's just a perspective. But when you do that, start to look for patterns and you'll start to see how you really are. Take the average of what 10,000 people say about you and you'll probably get a really good idea of what you act like and who you are. One example of this that I had recently was my wife. I was sitting down and planning my quarterly goals, my goals for this next quarter. And I wanted a third one. And so I asked my wife, like, hey, are there any goals that you would recommend I have? And she said, maybe focus on yourself a little bit less. And I realized that, yeah, she's completely right. I have this tendency to kind of get wrapped up in my own work and on the things I'm working on that I don't give any room for anyone else. And I sometimes drop the ball on simple things like taking the trash out on trash day or things like that. That's one example. Number 4 is to work on all aspects of your life and be very true to who you are. If you want to grow a business, you will still have to have energy to do that. So you can't neglect your health. You can't neglect working on your health or your wellness, your weight. You have to still work out and things. If you want to have a good relationship, having a lot of money, it doesn't make your relationship bad, but it can make it better. If you have money problems, it will definitely make your relationship worse. So making it so you don't have money problems is a good way to make it so that at least does not affect your relationship. So be very aware of how one area of your life impacts another and work on all of them, not just one. And obviously there are times and seasons. Sometimes you will have to do specific things, like if you're going to med school, that's what you got to focus on for that time being. Otherwise, you can work on other things in general, but just be very aware of there's times and seasons, but work on all aspects of your life. And yeah, so that's the 4 tips I would give you on how to change your life. They're not comprehensive. They're just tips that I've seen have helped me in my life. So, number one, get around the right people. Number two, consume the right media. Number three, grow in your self-awareness. Number four, work on all aspects of your life. It looks like I have not been sent the challenges. So when I am sent the challenges, I will post it on social media, and then I will get started on those challenges. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate you coming back every week listening to the Hard Thing Podcast. Hit us up on social media at the Hard Thing Podcast. Reach out to us and tell us what hard things you are dealing with. We'd love to talk about that on the show, maybe get you on the show, have you give us a call and record that and see how we might be able to help or how we might be able to work with you through that. Or maybe you just need an avenue of venting those frustrations. Also, make sure you follow the podcast on anywhere you're listening to podcasts, so Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere. But again, thanks so much for listening to the show. We really appreciate you listening and paying attention to us. But hopefully what we're saying, and I'm saying we because usually it's me and Ty on this Thursday show, but what we're saying is important to you, and hopefully it helps. So all I got to say is come back on Monday. We actually have an awesome show with Scott J. Miller, who wrote Management Mess to Leadership Success. And he actually has a new book coming out called Marketing Mess to Brand Success. So we have him coming up on the show on Monday. So come back for that. Until then, keep doing hard things because you will overcome average.